Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, are we in?
We're live again.
Bringing you another hard and fast review, just how you like it. I saw this will be more one-sided.
As
I
always,
saw, as always, yeah. Well, you come in with your odd,
I'm
yeah,
hilarious.
and you come in with a little pun that falls flat, and then we crack on with the review, or I crack on with the review.
Crack on then.
Okay, I saw Age of Shadows, which is a new South Korean period thriller set in the 1920s. It's about a kind of cat and mouse duplicitous game of kind of betrayal and ploys between the Japanese police, who at the point had kind of control over and were running Korea, and the Korean independence, or the resistance fighters.
Mm.
So there's this and it's all about, there's a kind of plot of use of explosives, a kind of terrorist plot to regain independence and so on and so forth. I'm not 100% queued up on the history of it, so I won't try. But blah, this is by a guy called Kim Ji-woon, who is a wonderful director, one of absolutely South Korea's finest outputs. He's done films like I Saw the Devil, which is the most brutal, the most intense serial killer thriller you will ever see, hands down. Like, I mean, no one makes films like this. It is bare bones and brutal to the point of you almost give up on it. It's almost exhausting. It's so unrelentingly harrowing. But he's done a wonderful ghost story called A Tale of Two Sisters, The Good, the Bad, and the Weird, which is a mental Korean gonzo western, and A Bittersweet Life, which is um, another of the best South Korean revenge thrillers. If you're ever interested in
Okay.
diving in, he's fab. He did that Arnie comeback film, The Last Stand, which was, though not a bad film actually by any means, it was a total disappointment. It was the first film he did for a Western market in America, and it was also meant to be Arnie's comeback, and it wasn't quite, a home run for either of them.
I don't
But
even know what it is.
yeah, it's The Last Stand. Arnie
Whatever.
shoots some people in Texas or something like that.
Sounds exciting.
Um, Point is, he is back on his home turf with Age of Shadows, which is a grand, epic thriller set in the shadows of resistance fighting in the 1920s in Korea and Japan. It is a wonderful, crafted film. Like, if you want to reduce film down to kind of what it is, almost like a chest of drawers or a tabletop, the way this is put together, you can't really. We try and rate films out of five. It's kind of
Mm.
hard. As art, it's all objective, and you can't quite surmise what makes it good and bad. But if you take this down to how it's made, the fundamentals, the mechanics of this film, it's absolutely faultless. It is so beautifully mounted and handsomely shot, and the way, the pace of every shot and every edit, and it's just the way it's made up is perfect. But that wouldn't do much if it wasn't engaging on a kind of, you know visceral or a sensory or an emotional level, and this film kills it. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes,
Nice.
and it's a long old ride, but it is, by Jove, some ride. This is, yeah. So, like I say, it's a thriller of kind of cat and mouse between the police and the resistance, and betrayal and people turning and rats and people going undercover. It's kind of got a spy thriller element. It has this incredible central set piece, which takes up probably about a quarter of the film, on a train going to Seoul. And it is just one of the most wonderfully paced, dynamic, lush, cinematically lush set pieces I've seen in the last year at least. It's perfect thriller filmmaking, really kind of dynamic, tense. You don't know where it's going to go, and when it does go down, and there are a couple of what would be called action sequences in the film, and when they go off, they really go off. Um, they're violent, they're bloody, they're in the quick pace to the point of, there is a kind of chaoticism about them, but when they happen, it's quite exhilarating. And it's just a really, really wonderfully mounted, well told, very, very cinematic film with big ambition, big scale, but something that is never not pulling it off 100%. I can't even begin. You're watching it and you're like, this is a man who has a command over his medium and over the language of filmmaking, like nearly no other director. In terms of how understanding he is of his craft, you could only compare him to people like Spielberg or David Fincher on the kind of or Christopher Nolan. When you're watching those guys' films, you know that they are, whether you like the film or not, they are doing exactly what they have in mind, and how they want to conceive and execute their film is done to a T. And this film is no different. It's on a kind of thematic level. It actually reminded me a lot, and I don't know if this is a deliberate reference in terms of the namesake, but there's a 1969 film called Army of Shadows, which is a French film by Jean-Pierre Melville, who's the great French new wave filmmaker, which is about a very similar kind of thematic struggle between resistance fighters and police or the military police and so on and so forth. There's a lot of that film in it, but it totally stands on its own. It's a really grand, impressive work. And again, I saw this and I saw Get Out within the same day of each other, and they are front runners for my two favorite films of the year so far.
And that's a strong day.
If I'm doing out of 5, it's no question. It's an easy 5.
Oh, how about a 10 then?
Well, no, it's a 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not quite up there as Get Out then.
Well, no, Get Out's not a 10 either. Get Out's a 9 as well. They're both 9.
Cool. So
it's not a 10.
That's
10.
solid though. Solid.
Oh, solid like you wouldn't believe. Yeah, this is. Yeah, if this is. Yeah, I could. Yeah, it's great. Basically,
it is great. What's it called again?
It's called Age of Shadows, and it's out. It's a limited release. I just managed to catch it in central London. So if you are interested in, you might have to hunt to track it down, or wait till it comes out on DVD, Blu-ray, and demand and so on. But it's a bloody good film.
Bloody good. Sick.
That's it. Out. Boom.